Hi, can you guys hear me? Hello. What happened? Did it? I don't know what happened there. Yes, 2.0 is not in Boston. She's in Quantico, maybe. Anyways, hi guys. That was weird. It showed me up here, and then I like refreshed, and yeah, you guys are saying boomer, 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 and I'm like talking. That was so weird. So, anyways, hi everybody. So we got delayed because Rumble, setting up Rumble, making sure that was working. Uh, didn't want to work, right? Rumble's the only streaming setup where when you try to fire it up, it bogs everything down. Takes forever. But God, that was so weird. I'm talking, and then you guys are like, "I don't see it. I don't see it," and I'm like, "I don't know." So I refreshed, and here we are. So welcome to the Thursday night show, everybody. If you are new, welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I am an attorney in the Cleveland area, and while I mainly focus on criminal defense topics, this Thursday night show, we kind of cover everything that's going on out there. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to talk about tonight, a lot to talk about. So I welcome everyone because we've got people all over the internet, all over the internet. We got people we're on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Rumble, Kick. And then finally, here, all of you here on YouTube. And then last but not least, locals. And why do I say last but not least for locals? Because, well, I forgot to put locals up. So yes, last and kind of least tonight. So I apologize. If you guys aren't aware what locals is basically Patreon without all the bull crap. And what I mean by the bull crap, well, Patreon has, I haven't done it lately, but Patreon for a long time was very, well, you call it authoritarian how they handled things. If you said things they didn't like, they punished you for it and they made you suffer if you didn't do what they wanted politically. So locals is one of the responses to that. And at potentiallycriminal.locals.com, it's basically Patreon, but we don't have any of those stupid rules you have to abide by over on Patreon. We have a community. It's got a nice wall. You can join for free and hang out. It doesn't cost you anything. If you wish to support me there as a member, it's $3 a month. You pay for 10 months, you get 2 months free. With those, um, with that membership and the support, you get access to the live shows. And we do 2 live shows a week. We do one on Mondays, and those Monday shows are always fun. We talk about all kinds of stuff that necessarily doesn't fit in a show, or more importantly, doesn't fit here on YouTube or Twitter. Stuff we can't really talk about around there. It's a lot of fun, and we usually go about 3 hours and spend up all the time that locals allows us to use. And then Thursday nights we do another show after this. Just like R. Kelly says, after the show, it's the after party. Except after that party, we don't go to the hotel lobby. But we do hang out afterwards. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Um, I recommend you. I highly recommend it. Of course, I'd recommend it. Otherwise, it'd be weird if I said, "Don't come. It actually sucks." But if you are a member, you get access to that, and I highly recommend it. If you aren't sure about it, you can use the promo code Switchy, and yeah, just like like if you had a Glock and you put a put a switchy on the back and you wanted to make it go burr, you could do that. And that promo code gets you 1 month free access as a supporter. At the end of that month, there is no obligation. But certainly if you are taking advantage of it, I hope you realize it is a pretty good value. And we'll see you there. Porcelain Thunder says Clyde went to find me. No, I had to go find Clyde earlier. Clyde decided to go try to explore the neighborhood while I was out mowing the yard. So uh, he ran halfway across the subdivision and walked up to an old lady and was like flopped over on his back and wanted belly rubs. So I start driving through the neighborhood looking for him and I see a dog walking and I'm like, I called 2.0 and I'm like, "Hey, I think Clyde ran off." And I'm like, "I don't know where he's at. I'm trying to find him." And I come around the corner and Clyde's just like walking along on a leash. And I'm like, "That dog looks a lot like fucking Clyde." And I get closer and I'm like, "Oh shit, it is him." So I said, "Hold on." And I put the phone down in the car and I get out of the car and Clyde's just like jumping around. And oh, I was so worried about him. So worried. So worried. Yes, looks like Hamas got to me. Is 2.0 going to stop by the retrial? I told her to go do that. I told her to go do it, but uh she's not going to do that, sadly. Did I see that the Fat Max are that proved Big Macs are better than Kevlar? Improved 9 millimeter doesn't have enough stopping power to get to me. Hold on one second. What do I get? What this was 2.0 texting me? Oh my god. I'm gonna have to save that for posterity. Jeez. Congratulations, Nick, on being first. I know it doesn't really count at being first when it's almost 9:30, but hey, gotta start somewhere. Gotta start somewhere. Also, if you guys are new, we try to give about 10 minutes to let people catch up, um, and join in. So we have a lot to talk about tonight, and I think the first thing we're going to get into, also over on Rumble. Oh, it is working great. Um, Eric's saying, Am I doing see it future conflict tomorrow? I gotta. I mean, here's the thing: future conflict. We're gonna write into Karen Reed, and I think tomorrow is actually going to be a pretty big day for Karen Reed. So probably not. Um, and that's just if it was. I think Karen Reed's going to take a little precedence over that right now, but we'll figure something out because I don't want to just disappear for 6 weeks. So probably not tomorrow, Eric. Probably not tomorrow. And I need 5 minutes to boomer. Yeah. Wait, did 2.0? Yes. My meeting's in at 2 tomorrow, so maybe. No, because they are going to be on a jury view by then, so too late. Yes, I didn't lose Clyde. Clyde tried to be an escape artist. He's a very inquisitive dog. Michael Boyle, not sure if he covered it, but any thoughts on Chili's letter writing campaign to the judge? I mean, it's not going to do anything, and I mean, all the court's going to see this as is a lunatic having his like mob of people harassing a judge. But let's say you view it in the light most favorable to Chile. Like they're not going to change their mind. They're not going to change their mind. So, I mean, overall, it's not going to change anything. I think there should be nothing seen as bad in it. But yeah, like I said, there are smarter ways to do stuff, but that's not Chili's forte typically to do. Typically for Chili to do those things there. So I guess we'll start off with the biggest thing, and some of you might not think this is a big deal, but I think this is going to have wide-ranging effects that you might not even think about right now. But where is this going to lead to? Um, it's the DEA rescheduling marijuana. So the Drug Enforcement Administration is in charge of doing that, and they are in charge of doing the scheduling of drugs. And when you hear scheduling, guys, it's part of the Controlled Substance Act. There's 5 schedules, and those schedules are critical. Now, when you look at the schedules, there are a handful of them. And you've heard of these before: Schedule 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let me see, where did it go? Here we go. Why is this? There we go. I don't know why that didn't want to work. So with the scheduling, you have Schedule 1 drugs. Okay, the big one, Schedule 1 is the drugs that have no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse. Okay. So some examples of that are heroin. You might say, wait, you could use morphine. Okay. Morphine, we'll get to it. LSD, you know, MK Ultra would disagree with you on its medical use. And then marijuana, also known as cannabis. So there's also, then moving on, there's Schedule 2. And they have a high potential for abuse, which can lead to severe psychological or physical dependence. They're also considered highly dangerous. So, like hydrocodone, like also known as Vicodin, cocaine. Yes, cocaine is something you can receive a prescription for. They use it. I mean, technically, you could get it. It's used as a analgesic, kind of like you could use menthol. It's used for local anesthetic purposes. When people talk about getting a number, it actually does have that effect. Methamphetamines and amphetamines, methadone, basically synthetic heroin. Hydromorphone, also known as Dilaudid. Demerol, oxycodones, which basically destroyed rural America. Fentanyl, you got that good old Fetty. Dexedrine, Adderall, and Ritalin, which is funny because Dexedrine, Adderall, and Ritalin are basically meth. But then we have Schedule 3. Okay, and this is where right now it looks like marijuana is going to end up. So they have a moderate to low potential for physical and psychological dependence, but they're more dangerous than Schedule 4. So Schedule 3 drugs are ones that, if you have like Tylenol 3s, so you got the Tylenol, the codeine, ketamine, anabolic steroids, or testosterone. So you're still going to need a prescription for it. Your doctor will write you a prescription for it, but now there's a medical use for them. And then if you get down to Schedule 4, it's like Xanax, Darvocet, Valium, Ativan, Talwin, Darvin, Soma, Ambien, Tramadol, all those fun things. And then, or Schedule 5 is not where we're going to get to. Basically, marijuana is going from Schedule 1 all the way down to Schedule 3. So that's really good news. Really, really, really good news. So why is this? What's the bad? What's the bad that's going to happen here? Well, I think there's going to be a lot of overall good things, because now you can possess it federally, which means it changes a lot of things, like marijuana dispensaries. Well, now they're operating in a substance that is no longer under Schedule 1. So they're going to be allowed to be in the banking. It's not as clandestine now. It's not as problematic. For firearms owners, I think there might be a change by the ATF if you are now using a prescription drug, that you are allowed to do that. That doesn't negate your Second Amendment rights, because currently the ATF says if you smoke marijuana, you're using drugs, you're a prohibited person. I think now, because now I can, under federal law, have a valid prescription for it, you're good to go. Great news. This is going to make it easier overall for people, but I think there's going to be some downsides. If you're in prison for marijuana trafficking or marijuana related crimes, I don't see this changing anything for you. They're not going to open up the doors and say, "Well, you can go," because at the time you broke the law. Now, will that make it easier for you to probably get early release? Sure. And could I see Biden releasing a lot of marijuana offenders out of the Bureau of Prisons? Yeah, I could see that happening. And I don't think that would be a bad idea, but he doesn't have to. And these people aren't going to be able to go running around saying, like, "Oh, well, you have to accept my appeal because, we don't, it's not the devil's lettuce anymore." Well, and the courts are going to say, "Well, at the time it was." Just like if you watch Blow and he makes up that whole story, and the judge is like, "Well, Mr. Young, that was a very poignant story, but that imaginary line was real, and you carried drugs across it." So that's going to happen. And then the bigger thing is, now that it's not illegal and now that it's got a valid use, and there are already rumblings about this, you're going to get like big agriculture involved. And it's already been involved in some places. But now you're going to have like great value Walmart brand marijuana. You're going to get big business is going to jump into this. I mean, on one hand, yes, Pfizer playing around with marijuana, making designer brands sounds cool, but I don't know if that's ultimately gonna be a good thing, having big pharma running around in the weed business. Although it'd be funny if, Pfizer and Procter and Gamble start fighting each other and having turf wars over drug sales. That'd be great. Sweet Tooth says, but Mary Jane is still federally legal. If it comes down to Schedule 3, though, it's not. It's then you will get a prescription from your doctor, and your doctor will you be allowed to have it. So, but yes, that great value marijuana, yes. And growing your own is the future, I think. Yeah, I think so too. But the Johnson and Johnson weed is gonna suck. Uh, Benjamin says, "Can we drive trucks that have captain's licenses now?" That's gonna be a little hard because I think that's gonna come down to, you're still regulated federally, and having a lot of drug prescriptions can prohibit you in some situations. So will this change screening for jobs and insurances? No, no, it won't. It won't. I don't see it doing that, and that's solely because if you run a business, you're allowed to say, "I don't want people having any intoxicating liquors or substances." If I owned a trucking company and you've got a back problem, so you're popping Vicodins all day, you're not allowed to operate heavy machinery. You're like, "Sorry, I'm not hiring you." You're show up for your drug test and you piss hot and you light up for alcohol. Sorry, not having you. Just as you piss hot and it's for weed, I don't want people who might be impaired on the job. And insurance companies are allowed to prohibit you. Now, there might be, I see as we get further and further into things, pushes in certain community states for, like, you can't ask about criminal things, you can't ask people if they're using drugs. I see pushes for that maybe, but overall, businesses and insurance companies are going to be allowed to regulate. We don't want people who are intoxicated or prone to being intoxicated using our equipment and whatnot. But I do think I could see it being, if you have a certain jobs, or like your job's sitting there to lick envelopes, like, "Oh no, he does marijuana." Like, that's not going to be an effective disqualifier. Mark saying you can't get a gun in Illinois if you have a medical cannabis card. And I think the rescheduling of this will change that. I think especially people would take this to federal court, they'll probably be able to get their rights enforced that way. But yes, Zaven, those were really, really good questions. This is gonna make more addicts. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that. Nick is saying dispensaries are going to have to become pharmacies. I don't know how the DEA is going to handle that. I think they might say, I think they might turn a blind eye and say, look, if you're just slinging weed, we're not going to get too involved on it. We're not going to get too involved on it. Young says no arrest. Well, for right now. And yes, this is just proposed, but what they've done, because Joe Biden's in charge of the DEA, it's part of the executive branch. So through Merrick Garland, the attorney general is head of the Justice Department, which is where the DEA is located. So it goes up the chain. And they submitted to Joe Biden a rescheduling. And it's his job to sign off on it. And especially something big like this, because you know what he can do? He gets to go in November and be like, yo, potheads. That's me. That's me. Give me them votes. So he gets to sign off on it. He gets to say yay or nay. And I'm sure his people, just like they did with student loan thing, are like, it's a great way to buy votes. That said, this is May. And let's say he does it in June. That's kind of early. I think if you're going to time this, I would time this for like September or maybe October. Surprise, weed is legal now. Like that would be how I would do it. That would be how I would do it. But that's that's me. That's me. That is how I would do it. The pharmaceutical companies are going to sell Reggie. Yes. What does this do to the recreational stuff? Well, remember, it doesn't change anything at your state levels. It's just the federal government is now acknowledging that marijuana does have medical purposes. Now, that's the next step to them deregulating marijuana, period. That's going to be the next hurdle, is just unscheduling marijuana. I think that's probably another decade down the road. I don't think it's going to be fast. The Eli Lilly weed is going to be the shit. Yes, you'll get an actual prescription, and yes, RJ Reynolds is going to take over. That would be funny as hell. That would be funny as hell. Sweet Tooth says, "I just don't see this happening." Oh, I think I think they're realizing they're going to have to fix it. The winds of change are coming, as they say on Trailer Park Boys. The shit winds are blowing. Did you know George Washington said if you separate the male plants from the female, it makes a better bud? No, I did not know that. I did not know that. Yes, dispensaries here can use the credit unions, but not regular banks. Yes. And Sweet Tooth says, great. Now I'm going to have drug shoppers asking me for weed prescriptions. Yeah, they're going to be like, can you get me, they're going to be like, Dr. Sweet Tooth, I need some AK-47. I need some I need some Bin Laden. And I don't know. Do they, because I just do edibles. Do they still have, weed they call Bin Laden? Because when I was in high school, that was like the good weed was called like, hey, you got any of that Bin Laden? I was like, that's kind of a weird name, but okay. You still got smoking Bin Laden like you're a Navy SEAL. Yeah, the feds are 10 to 15 years behind. Yeah, I just think there are so many things this is going to change when it happens. I mean, there's even effects I probably haven't even thought of. And yes, the government's going to screw this up and make this hard on somebody. I definitely think so. I definitely think they're going to mess this up. What don't they mess up? Yeah. People, going to walk up to Dr. Sweet Tooth and be like, Dr. Sweet Tooth Fairy, can you give me that shit that ISIS smokes? Michael Stetson says, Bin Laden, what is this, an episode of The Wire? Well, dude, I graduated high school in 2000. I graduated high school 20 years ago. Yeah, it would have been that. Walter says, now I know why my order at Denny's will always be wrong. Yes, that's why you'll have to know what you ordered. Yes, 3-6 Mafia, Bin Laden weed. Yep. Yep. And guys, there is a new Afro Man song about Hunter Biden. I'm not gonna play it because last time I did, for some reason, it copyright ID'd me, and it kind of demonetized the video. So I probably won't do that tonight, but we might do it tomorrow night and talk about it because it's absolutely fucking hilarious. Um, and it's all about Hunter Biden getting high. So just keep your eyes peeled. There's a lot that's gonna happen. There's a lot that's gonna happen. And then I guess speaking of the police and government officials, this is where it's kind of one of our first stops here. And this one's kind of interesting. Just reading this thing here. Former police officer is convicted of warrant forgery and is barred from future policing. That sounds great, but usually when you commit forgery, it's like it's a felony, and while I'm for decarceration, you should probably go to prison if you're forging warrants. Let's see what happened though. So, a former police officer was convicted of forging warrant signatures and was fined $500 and must write apology letters to former colleagues. That's it, $500. And write apology letters to former colleagues. Why not writing a letter to the community like, I'm sorry, I could have got people killed and rights destroyed? We none of that. It's just, oh, I hurt the poor policeman. Like, what the hell? What the hell? Yes, it's a Bart Simpson punishment. Yeah, it doesn't look like he's even going to jail. He pled no contest to one count of felony misconduct in office. The counts of forgery and obstructing an officer were dismissed. Well, that's cute. They did that for him. The felony will prevent him from being employed in the future as a law enforcement officer. That's great. It's not that his post certification or his law enforcement credentials were revoked. It's the fact he can't carry a gun anymore that makes him not eligible to be an officer. So here's the issue: what he did. He admitted to losing the agreed upon warrant calling for a 45-day tracker to be placed on a defendant's vehicle. Allegedly, he then forged the signatures. Well, not allegedly, he pled to it. He forged another warrant that listed a 90-day period. There's no apology to the guy whose rights he violated. I'm sorry to you, sir, that I abused the power of the state and caused these problems. So, and the district attorneys, interestingly enough, noticed it, and then they stopped a plea deal with the defendant in federal court, and the tracker was removed at 44 days. And they caught it. I guess good for them, but he had been an officer for 15 years and resigned. Why is he not going to fucking prison? Because this guy that he was dealing with certainly was probably going to go to fucking prison. Probably a drug case. The war on drugs wins again, chat. The war on drugs wins again. Nothing to the people in that community. Not, oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, somebody could have got killed or hurt over this. I violated the Constitution and I hurt you. None of that. None of that. Oh, I'm sorry, fellow policeman. Yeah, because it's so bad. I mean, how did they not realize something was wrong? How did they not realize something was wrong? Ninja Bread Man says, "Can people convicted by this guy's evidence get their stuff overturned?" If this prosecutor is smart, they're going back through his cases that he was involved in. Now, it all depends. If he was the lead investigator, sure, they're gonna go through those cases with a fine tooth comb. If he was the guy who responded in addition to everybody else and was like, "Oh yeah, I opened the drawer and I found a bag of drugs," but it was one bag of drugs, and then they found like a pound of heroin next door in like the kitchen. That one's not gonna be a big deal because that guy's screwed anyway, and those drugs are probably what pled him out. But yeah, anything where he's like the sole witness or the guy who found stuff, oh, I hope they'd better be looking through all that shit because you can't trust what this guy did. I don't care if it's a speeding ticket. Let's say he caught someone last year speeding while he was working as a detective. They'd better stop and go back through those, and I would ask they be thrown out. Unless there's like dash cam that shows they paced the car and shows them breaking the law or they admit to breaking the law, yeah, I'd throw it all out. Guaranteed he did it more times than he was busted for. Yes. Yep. Yep. I guarantee it. I absolutely guarantee it. Hefo Jeffo saying you need to lose weight. It'll improve your lawyering stuff. You'll be sharper. Thank you. Trying to work on that. Need to do a lot better on. That's one of the goals this summer. But thank you. Uh Lakea's shuttle service, I think. I messed that up probably. My bad. Guarantee you he did it for more than what he was busted for. Oh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all. That's not the first time you do something like this. Not because if the warrant was already approved, so he went and filed the warrant. Like it sounds like they agreed on it and he lost it. Okay, just get it reprinted and go back to the judge. Say, Judge, I lost the warrant. I don't know how you lose it, but in the meantime, normally, you file a warrant, they take a copy of it and keep a copy. Like there was no other copies of this sitting around that you had to go forge a new one. So did he really lose it, or is this guy lying about losing it so he could modify the warrant? I don't know, but some of his story in this doesn't make sense. And then Bad Weather Biker is saying, I was raised in Outagami or Outagami or I don't know how you say it. It's your funny Indian words up there. Nothing surprising here. Well, that's sad that it's not surprising. And we should be able to be shocked that this happened. But obviously, well, we're not shocked. I mean, this is what happens. This is what happens. Sadly, this is what happens. Like I said, as much as I'd love for it to be that way, I guess I'm not big on do we really need to send people to prison all the time. This guy has to go to prison. You'd like to think cops wouldn't do this, but now they know for sure. Oh my god, if I do this, I'm going to prison, and they won't do it. And they won't do it. Uh, that's how this has to occur. That's how this has to occur. There's no other excuse. No other excuse for this. No other excuse. And then with that, we need to catch up on a couple things here. Unhung Hero for $2 says, "Well, I'm gonna come. Well, come, I'm gonna. Well, come, don't. Come, don't." The Buzz CJC is a new member. Thank you, Buzz. I appreciate your support. And Sea Souter has been a member for 5 months. Thank you for that support. First thing, let's hear about Clyde's adventure. Well, he went off, and I found him walking back on a leash. So So glad I found him. I'm really worried. There's like coyotes and all kinds of stuff, and he's just a little guy. He's just a little guy. It's a scary world out there. Prove that Clive is alive and well. Well, um, hold on here. Let me get him. Clyde, hey, come here. Clyde, come on. I think he's a little worried himself. So he's actually under my feet. I think he got a little scared walking around today, but I think he also misses 2.0. My buddy. Yeah, he's all right. But yes, thank you. Member for 12 months. It's cool seeing those double digit things for people being members. I appreciate your support. I very much do. And Janet for $5 said Clive was just looking for a piece of ass. Well, I don't know what he's gonna do because you don't have any balls. And the APL took those for you. They took those from you when the people dropped you off at the APL. So, yeah, you look so tired, buddy. You want people to talk about tonight? Anything you want them to Google? Anything about Building 7 and the USS Liberty? No? Well, we'll talk about some of that stuff in a minute. All right, so moving on with crooked cops. Well, they're not really cops. They work with law enforcement. But when I was working in this capacity, I never considered myself part of law enforcement. I think that they should be considered a very distinct part of the organization. Then Rock Little Dog is looking at the ground all freaked out. No, he's looking at my desk looking for food. No, he's not looking for Dina right now. He's not looking for 2.0. He knows she's gone. He saw her pack the bag this morning. Yes, I won't runs aways again, boss. I done learned my lesson, boss. He didn't really learn his lesson. He ran into a nice old lady and gave him a bunch of pets and belly rubs and walked him back walked around the neighborhood trying to figure out where he came from. So wasn't that bad for him. Chad was saying, my buddy got stopped in Ohio today by the DOT, and his truck and trailer were good, but he didn't have the skills of performance evaluation along with a CDL for a birth defect on his arm. Oh. Well, if they wrote him up, he should have the chance he can rectify it. But yeah, DOT here in Ohio are those red lights. They love finding trucks. So, all right. But that said, moving on, this is something that happened, this year, and it happened about a week ago. And this is the situation of the Monroe County, New York District Attorney. So if you guys aren't aware, Monroe County is where Rochester, New York is. And I'm not talking about an assistant district attorney. I'm talking about the district attorney, like the elected official. Okay. So what happened? Well, if you haven't seen this yet, just keep in mind how this would go for you. Just keep in mind how this would go for you and what she does. Now, this starts off with the police in their car. Here we go. Also, notice he didn't shoot the dog at the beginning. I'll give him credit for that.
Sorry, I'm the DA. I was going 55 coming home from work.
55 and a 35.
I don't really Okay. Can you come? Can you please?
Now, the funny thing is, we've watched a ton. I've watched a ton of these on YouTube. You guys have watched a ton of these on YouTube. I've watched a bunch of these where it's my client getting stopped by the cops. Now, just think about this. You're out of the car. Basically, she's saying, I don't give a fuck. Yes, I was speeding. I don't care. And you get out of the car. Guess what happens? Guess what happens when you get out of the car at a traffic stop? Yeah, on a good, if you're lucky, you get told, get back in the car. If you're a little less lucky, you get taser, taser, taser. If you're even less lucky about the cop you're dealing with, you get told, get on the goddamn ground or I'll kill you. Now remember, it's a fake gun, training gun. Because now we're speeding and 20 miles an hour is speed limit. Yes, some places like Virginia and many states, that's reckless driving, which is a criminal offense. Either way, we'll keep going from here. So,
Please come over here. This is on a traffic stop, ma'am.
Yes, it is. You can call Dennis Kohlmeyer right now.
Okay, I'm telling you why I stopped you. You didn't stop at all. Did you not hear my lights or sirens or anything?
No, I didn't actually. I was on the phone.
Okay, well, you're not supposed to be on the phone while you're driving either.
Yes, I am with the hands-free. Absolutely.
Okay. Why are you so upset at me? I'm doing my job. You just admitted to me that you were going 55 and a 35 on Phillips Road.
Can you please tell him to leave me alone? It's
Officer Christopher. Can you stay over here, ma'am? This is a legal traffic stop. Do you have your ID?
No, it's in my purse. Here.
You have your purse right there.
No.
Cool. Remember, guys, now it's a traffic stop, and she's refused to stop. She's now not complying with his commands. She's being belligerent and aggressive. Remember, these are the words the police would normally use if it was me or you. They'd say, I stopped Mr. Moore and he was being very aggressive and belligerent. I asked him for his identification. And, she was asked for identification. She refused to provide it. Notice how this is going for all of us at this point. Notice. And now she's called the chief of police. I'd argue this is like an undue influence or an abuse of power charge. Did she resign? You're funny. We'll get to that. But here you go. Let's keep going.
This is my lunch. Would you talk to Dennis? This is ridiculous. Go away.
Hello, sir.
And now that she's leaving, you know what happens if you walked away like that? The suspect then proceeded to flee the scene and not stay on location.
Good. Ma'am, can you please stay at the back? This is legal traffic stop. Can you please stay over here?
No. Hey, baby, get your little guy out of here.
Sir, I stopped her for going 55 and a 35 on Phillips Road.
On Phillips Road.
And she failed to stop. She drove all the way back home and parked in her garage. And now she's not complying with any of my commands. Ma'am, do not go inside.
Oh my God.
Yeah, guess what happens to us if we do that? Guess what happens to us if we do that? Just think about this so far. Yeah, she could come out with a gun. He's got your phone, though, too. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of things here. Karen says, how many of these are felonies? None of them so far. But they're all misdemeanor offenses. In Ohio, there's already, if this is Ohio, failure to comply with a signal or order of a law enforcement officer. Failure to identify, provide identification upon demand. Obstructing official business. She's done a couple of different things right now. You could almost argue this is two separate counts of failing to comply because now she ran off again, or maybe it's a second obstructing. I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot of, if this is me, I'd be getting run up on charges out the ass.
Yep. All right. Ma'am, come outside. You can't just go inside.
And the neat part is he doesn't need a warrant to go in the house and chase her down because this is hot pursuit. This is, she ran to the house. He can, there is no ollie oxen free at this point. I would argue, typically if they're looking for somebody trying to arrest them, they need a warrant to get in. But this would be an exigent circumstance, 100%.
This is a traffic stop. Here's your phone back.
I understand the law better than you. Would you just
953. Can you have a supervisor come to the scene?
No. Get out of my fucking house.
I don't know why you're acting like this towards me.
Because
Can you please go to the back of the vehicle?
I'm not going to. I'm home. Okay, 55.
I don't care if you got home.
The other thing here, typically when I have clients or people acting like this, what's normally a common theme? Somebody's been having a little glug. It's 5 o'clock, guys. It's 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock somewhere, Sandra. How many martinis did you have, honey bunch? Huh? Sugar DEA sugar tits. How many Long Islands you slam back on the way home? You came from the office. Yeah. The office said, how many shot skis did you do? Because normally the police are going to think you're either drunk or you're on drugs when you start acting like this. Because she's displaying the activity, like listen to her, the way she's talking, and she's kind of acting like she's drunk. Yeah, it's breathalyzer time, yeah. No, this is in New York, Rochester, New York. Yes, I reached home base, bro. I'm safe, yeah. Now, yes, Sandy's a boxed wine, maybe. But yes, for most of us, we would have already been eating the fucking pavement by now.
We're supposed to stop at Phillips Road when I pulled you over. When my lights were initiated.
I didn't know you were stopping me. There was lots of other people on the road.
I was right behind you.
Yeah, there were other people on the road too.
Okay, I was.
Now, I love that because I would love to know, because she certainly prosecutes people. I mean, is this going to be now an acceptable, like if I was a defense attorney in Rochester, well, my guy didn't know he was right behind him. Well, he got right behind the guy. Apparently your boss thinks that's a valid excuse. I mean, that's the thing. She's made it harder for her people to administer justice because now she's given people like me an excuse to fuck around. And why can't I fuck around with that? Your boss said this was an excuse. And now it looks like you guys are just being assholes because, oh, the white lady gets to do it, but not my client.
Directly behind you.
I'm not dealing with you right now.
Can you please step over here?
I'm not going to.
What is the reason?
Zap. Taser. Or, you know what? Throw her to the ground and snap a rotator cuff. At this point, I'm fine with them throwing her on the ground. She does this and she's in a position of power and she knows better. She should be, this is very much like Full Metal Jacket. It's like in the bathroom scene where Hartman comes in and he's like, why aren't you stomping his guts out? So what I want to ask this cop, why aren't you fucking beating the shit out of her right now like you do to everybody else? Why are you letting this Karen big league you this way? I mean, part of the issue is she's making him look like a bitch right now. I mean, because it smells like bitch in this garage and it's not coming from her.
You're so against what I'm doing. I'm doing my job. You say you're a DA?
I am the DA.
Okay.
Okay, let me get you my badge. I am the DA of Monroe County.
You go reach into your car like that on a traffic stop and you let me know if you don't turn around with this in your face. Like, come on. Come on. We all don't get this luxury.
I just don't.
Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Drop whatever it is you're holding. Nope, none of that happens here. And right now, he's in a confined space where he can't escape easily. This is not a good tactical situation for the officer.
Understand the hostility towards me.
Because he doesn't even know who's in the house. He could get ambushed from behind. I mean, he's letting himself get manhandled by this woman. She's bullying the shit out of him.
I'm doing my job.
No, you're being an asshole.
How am I being an asshole?
I am the DEA of Monroe County.
I understand
Yes,
that, but that doesn't give you a right to go 55 and a 35. And you even admitted to me that you went 50. I understand that, ma'am. I understand that.
You know what? If you give me a traffic ticket, that's fine. I'm the one who prosecutes it, okay? Just go ahead and do it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just don't understand the hostility. I understand you're coming home from work.
And half the time I was on the phone with Dennis telling him, why are you pulling me over?
You're not even supposed to be on the phone to begin with. You should know that.
On hands-free? Absolutely.
Okay.
You should know the law.
Okay. If it
Bitch, you don't know the fuck. You know the fucking law, and you fucking avoided it. You still haven't shown him ID. We all would be fucked in the ass right now. Oh. God, I can only imagine. Fuck. I can only imagine her husband sits there every night thinking he wants to fucking knock her teeth out. Imagine having to share a house with this woman. Fuck. Imagine her being your mom. Fuck.
this hands-free, that's great. But at the end of the day, you're going 55 and a 35. That's 20 miles over the speed limit.
Okay, you know what? That's fine. You know what I've been dealing with all day? 3 murders in the city. And do you think I really care if I was going 20 miles over the speed limit?
I'm just doing.
Oh, tweet bonus! Oh my God, Chad, it's a couple of murders. Oh no! Oh! Like, were they murdered in front of you? No, I just had to look through murder files. Like, honey, I've done that too. Like, I've even read through the files where like a fucking baby fell down the stairs and died. Like, really horrible fucking shit. You'll fucking survive, sugar tits. And if you can't do it, honey, take your shit, take your badge, and hang it up. Okay? You're playing fucking criminal law. You're dealing with your job is to deal with bad guys. Guess what? You're going to deal with the bad guys. I'm done dealing with the bad guys. I just can't handle it. Well, then fucking go home. Go write wills. Not a fucking, I was doing my job. Okay, that's not a fucking excuse. I take my pants off for reading murder files. I'm just saying, like, it's just, fuck your problems. Fuck your problems. It's not like you had, like, you're sitting there, the people are getting murdered in your office. Like, come on now. It's Rochester, New York. The mafia is still running around. Yeah, people are getting killed. Holy shit. It's like, it's not like you live in a county of like 1,000 people and 3 murders just happened. Like, how many hold on here. Rochester murder rate. I forgot to look this up earlier. Rate for 2023. Okay, so Rochester had 85 homicides in 2021. 2023 ended with 58. Okay. Oh no, there were 58 murders. Oh, fuck you. Fuck you, honey. Look at that. Look at that face. A face only a pimp could love. Just
my job. If you pulled over when you saw my lights, which obviously you did.
I thought you were going somewhere else because I thought no one would ever pull a black SUV if you ran my plates.
I didn't run your plate. I just called your plate out. And then I'm following you because you're not stopping. So I had to take the air from dispatch.
Just please.
953. You can have the air back, by the way. Just come outside over here.
No, I'm not going outside.
Okay.
yeah, once again, how's that going to go for us?
Waiting for you just to leave.
Well, I'm having a supervisor come because that's what my chief told me to do.
All right, excuse me, what I said.
Do you have your driver's license?
I just showed you my driver's
You show me your badge.
Thanks, sir.
Once again, just reach it into a car.
Really?
With EMS, a 14-year-old having a...
See, you saw that dog coming. In reality, that should have been the police dog come running in and fucking chewing her face off. Because that's what have happened to us.
Seizure 200 East River Road, permit 200 on the third
Because
floor.
I was going 55 up Phillips Road.
And before you get to
And I was
She's
just
part
trying
of. She's
to-
a DA.
Yep, I know.
And I was just trying to pull into my driveway. I was on the phone with Dennis Kohlmeyer saying, would you please tell the person who's following me that I'm almost home?
Ma'am, I understand you were going home, but I started my lights back at Phillips Road.
I'm on Phillips Road, yes,
Yes.
you did, and there are other cars.
I was right behind you, directly behind you.
So this goes on and on and on for a bit. Goes on and on for a bit. And they talk about what he wants to do. So he ends up talking to his boss. And just listen to these guys. These are cucked police. Literally cucked.
That she came home. I mean, obviously, if I
That's
Just
right.
Makes
trying
no
to-
sense.
yeah.
I explained that to her.
I-
Makes no
like-
sense to her.
she came home, she failed to stop. I mean, it's arrestable offense. I'm not trying to arrest the DA of the county.
Also, the funny thing is, now there's a police report, and now we can find her address. So good job. But listen to these guys. It's an arrestable offense.
She failed to stop. I mean, it's arrestable offense. I'm not trying to arrest the DA of the county, but also I don't want to not do my job and not at least write her something.
Notice it's not that I don't want to do it's not that I want to do a fair and equal application of the law. I mean, there's unjust laws out there, but you know what? I want a fair and equal application of them if we're going to have them. Notice it's not that, wow, I wouldn't give everybody else a fucking pass. It's, oh, I just, bitch made. I don't know what this officer name is, but he's a bitch. This guy's a bitch. The whole department's full of bitches. You should arrest the DA. Just absolute horseshit. Where's Ice-T? Well, it's DJ Khaled, but yes, congratulations, you played yourself. It's just absolute garbage. And here's the thing that would happen. She ended up getting charged with speeding. All right? And she ended up providing a big, I'm so sorry video. It was really rather pathetic. Because here's what she did. I mean, look at her eyes. That's some Xanny bars right there. That's some Xanax and Franzia rolling through her system. Just some those are glossy eyes.
Last Monday, I failed you and the standards that I hold myself to. And for that, I am so sorry. What I did was wrong, no excuses. I take full responsibility for my actions. I fell short of the values I've held for my entire 33-year career. I didn't treat this officer with the respect that he deserved. All police officers deserve respect. I am truly and sincerely sorry. I had just come from work.
Notice it's not that I failed to follow the law that I swear to uphold. I was mean to police, man. There's no excuse, but it's so hard. Listen to her now.
I was dealing with 3 homicides that
I was
occurred over the
doing 3
weekend.
homicides. It
I
was
watched
so
a video
scary.
where an innocent cab driver was executed.
Oh no, it was
And
so
I'm still
bad.
reeling from a frightening medical concern that my husband received that afternoon.
I'm sure your husband hopes that fucking tumor eats him alive right now. I'm sure that it's just you nagging and acting like a bitch probably caused it in the first place. I'm sure he lay there in the hospital like, God, just take me now. Oh, notice it's the big pun defense with her. It's so hard. It's so stawy. fucking cunt.
But we all had bad days and stress, and it was wrong for me to take it out on an officer who was simply doing his job.
Yeah, and you know what? My clients have bad days, and you know what? They still go to fucking jail. Good people have bad days. You still have to pay the fucking piper. Especially people like you. Because here's her. Here's her fucking ass. I guarantee you. Here's her ass. At your bond hearing, if this was you. Here's her. I will play the part of the DA right now. Mm-hmm. Your Honor, the people would ask for a remand. Or, Your Honor, at the very least, we'd ask for a cash bond of $35,000, no 10%. Your Honor, this was a traffic stop that occurred on a highly populated area during rush hour. The defendant at this point in time was driving 20 miles an hour over the speed limit. A marked cruiser did turn on their lights. They did refuse to stop at that point. It continued at a high rate of speed, 20 miles an hour over the speed limit, Your Honor, through a suburban neighborhood to their home. Once getting to their home, Your Honor, the defendant got out of the car, was extremely belligerent, swearing at law enforcement, refusing to comply with any orders at all, refused to show ID, made multiple furtive movements, and then attempted to flee into their home throughout the operations and never complied with officer demands. Your Honor, we have concerns that their safety, they have concerns for their safety in the community. And, Your Honor, it's just conduct we can't tolerate. So therefore, we're asking for a cash bond or them to be held without bond due to the risk that they present in the community. That's how that would fucking go. That's how that would fucking go. Yeah, furtive movements where she was jumping in the car doing shit. Yep. The danger of flee. Yep, attempting to flee multiple times presents a risk of flight. And actually, they would say, Your Honor, actually, we thought about this. If you do release them on a personal bond or recognizance bond, we ask that they be maintained on a GPS tether or house arrest. And they probably get it. I mean, there's a good chance. I mean, that's what they would say here. And I guarantee you, in her office, before this happened, they'd say, Your Honor, it's simple. When the police pull up behind you at sentencing for people, stop. Well, Sweet Tooth says, sounds like you've heard that before. Yep. I've said it before. Remember, I was a prosecutor for a while. I've said it before. Now, in a situation like this, that's what I would say. This person acts like a fucking lunatic. So. But yes, that you hear this all the time. You hear this all the time. Now, play your defense attorney. Well, she didn't have a defense attorney. She just paid up. She paid the ticket. So she was charged with the speeding, nothing else, and she paid it. And I'll explain why that's going to insulate her pretty good. But we got to finish this up. Because we need to move on to actually important shit. And not this bitch.
While I previously apologized to him, I will say it again. I'm sorry. Police already have a tough job, and that day I made this officer's job harder. To the community, I owe you full transparency. Here's what I'm doing to hold myself accountable. First,
not resign.
I already pled guilty to the speeding ticket, and I will willingly pay the fine.
That also insulates her because let's say the Attorney General's office investigates, double jeopardy is attached, so she can't really get charged for refusing to stop, resisting, obstructing, any of that stuff. So she kind of wins there. That was done to short circuit all of that. And if I was her attorney, I would have recommended that. So I will say from the defense attorney standpoint, good job. But from the citizen who has to live in her county, that's a shitbag faggot move.
Next, I'm referring the entire matter to a district attorney from another county for review and will fully cooperate with that investigation.
What are they going to do? They can't charge you with anything anymore. You've already pled out. What are they going to say? You're a cunt? And she'd be like, I agree.
I'm going to self-report this incident to the grievance committee, and I will cooperate with their investigation. Finally,
I'm sure
one of my
that's really
assistant
not going to lead to anything, guys. She ain't getting disbarred.
district attorneys had acted this way, I would have disciplined them. So I'm disciplining myself.
Oh, if one of her assistants did this, like, I'll tell you this much: if I had done that, I probably would have been my boss. Either place I was at would have probably been on the phone with me very quickly and say, "You're fucking fired." Like, they'd ask me what happened, but I would fully expect to be fired. Disciplining them, I'd fucking, if I was the DA, I'd fire someone who did that. I remember when I was at my one office, I actually got a badge. And our badge actually in that office is kind of cool because they look like Marshall, like, Texas Ranger stars. Had it was kind of cool. He said, "Here's your badge." And I said, like, I asked him, I'm like, "What do I?" Because he gave it to me. He's like, "Well, what do I do with this?" He's like, "Keep it in your desk." He's like, "Mine stays in my desk." And I'm like, "Okay." I said, "Cool," but I like, "Boss, like, but what do I do with this thing? Like, what am I gonna need it for?" And he said, "There might be times where you have to respond to a crime scene or something like that, or there's other law enforcement involved, and they might not know who you are." So he's like, "If that happens, because I lived in town, it was a little area, I'd swing by the office because I'm probably going to need stuff from the office anyway, like notepads, stuff and information, probably like my laptop, whatever, whatever that might happen." And, I'd have my, badge, and it's got my, prosecutor's office came with an ID. And he's like, "If you have to, that's what you would use it for." He's like, he said, "If I ever hear about any cop ever seeing that on a traffic stop," he said, "I will fire you immediately without question." And I fully agreed. And you know what, that thing, I never had to need it to go to anywhere. Anytime I ever showed up and stuff, the cops knew who I was. But yeah, that's in her bag so she can use that to flaunt. That's the only reason why she's got it on her.
I will take ethics training to remind myself that professionalism matters. I've been humbled by my own stupidity, and I'm fully to blame. I will make this right. I ask for your forgiveness.
I ask for your forgiveness. I've been humbled by my own stupidity. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that's how that actually worked out for you there, honey. Sean hates white women. Well, you know what? You can't trust white people. White people are problematic. It's a magical token. Yeah, no, it really is. It really is. The governor should remove her. I don't know if they can in New York. Nomea says, "Only at a fine. If only Nick was there." Oh. Yeah, she's disciplining herself. I know. Not like, "Oh, I'm suspending myself for a week without pay," or anything like that. Yeah, nope. Nope. Nothing real. Yeah, the biggest one. Resign. You are not competent to be in charge. So it's more of the blats we hate. So yeah, there you go. If that makes you feel any better about things, chat. Sorry. Sorry. How much was that ticket? Oh, in New York, it's going to be a couple $100. Oof. I can't imagine. Like, that's the one part of this I don't envy her for, because yes, it is that's the part I don't. That's the part I'm like, "Oh shit." I'd be really worried about getting a ticket in New York because they're expensive. In a lot of states, they're expensive. I mean, hold on here. NY speeding ticket, 20 mph over. How much is 20-mile-an-hour speeding ticket over in New York? Okay, here we go. 21. Oh. Oh. I don't know if this is right, chat, but apparently it's like at least $500. Oh. Ow. Oh. Minimum, it says like 478 up to like $900. Cosmo says, can I file a complaint at the NY State Bar with the Supreme Court of New York? You can, but it's not going to go anywhere. Okay, Robert's saying that sounds about right. Yeah, that's a thing. Damn. Ooh. Well, you see that house, that ticket ain't shit to her. Of course it's not. And it's in, the suburbs of Rochester. She can afford the ticket. Yeah, but I mean, fuck. Yeah, none of that was a problem for her. But it's just, bet she used campaign funds to pay for it. Yeah, well. The other funny part is some of you guys are saying, oh, she's New York, she's a Democrat. She's a Republican, but she flipped in 2016 to run on the Republican ticket. She uses $100 bills for her wine coasters, yeah. Michael Stetson brings up a good point. Because she's a Republican now, they might go after her. Good point. Is this an elected or appointed position? June, in New York, the district attorneys are elected. So she's subject to, a re-election, but I mean, let's be real. People aren't gonna. I'm assuming it's her office till she doesn't want to do it. Yeah, this is actually a good point. J-Rock for $2 saying, you ever eaten the cop at the Denny's? If so, expound. Well, what happens if she was eating at Denny's with a cop? And technically, does she count as a cop because she's got a badge? I personally don't think so, but yeah. Yes. And that's about as far as we're going to go with that. And why? Well, because completely nonsensical. I'm just going to leave it at that. There's, just as Homer Simpson would say, be more funny. Be more funny. Chili updates. He's still in jail. That's the real update. He's nothing's working out for him tonight. Nothing's working out for him. Do not join his letter writing campaign. I don't think that's a good idea. I just don't think it's a good idea there. I really don't recommend it, chat. So stay away from that. You are not going to help yourself. So basically he's asked for people to write letters and petition this judge to change your mind. And the way Chili said it, people were getting like all pearl clutch, like, oh, he's intimidating the judge. Like, no, he's not. That's not how it's meant to look. And nobody really would think that's happening. It's just a bunch of idiots asking for Chili to get released. He's not going to get released. He's going to do his time. So don't, like I said, don't freak out about it too much. There's nothing. Like I said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it with Chili. That's the Chili update. Now, this part here, though, I do think is interesting regarding things that are occurring, is the issues involving former President Trump and his trial out in... Oh, June saying, is there anything updated with Afro Man right now? Nope. No new updates. No new updates. I've reached out to his attorney hoping I could talk with him, but I haven't. Nothing new on the record. Nothing new. It's all kind of in. It's kind of like it's in stasis right now. They're working on discovery. 10K View says, why do we really care about this Chili character? Because he is a very fun. He's a lol cow. And he does ridiculous legal stuff. So why not watch and why not look? I mean, because it's fun. We need to have some levity. We need to have some levity at the end of the day. Because, what you take a look at the world and you tell me if it's rational. Now, with that being said, let's move on to what's going on in the cases involving former President Trump. This is an interesting one here. This is from Matt Gaetz, the representative. He interviewed, there was a deposition with one of the former assistant prosecutors, assistant district attorneys out of Manhattan, Mark Pomerantz. He was involved in those investigations Alvin Bragg was running. And this is very interesting. Listen to him talk about what this
Under
is.
advice of counsel, I'm not going to answer that question, sir. Privilege against self-incrimination.
And did you knowingly break any laws when investigating President Trump?
Objection. Same response.
Now, guys, it's a deposition, so there's an objection. He still has to answer, and the court determines later. Now, he is answering this the correct way. Did you break any laws? Well, if you can ever assert the Fifth Amendment, you always should. Because you don't know if you have or haven't sometimes. You're like, well, did I? Now, I think if you're a prosecutor investigating this, you know what you did. And I'm sure they broke a lot of laws investigating Trump. Just like we're finding out now down in southern Florida that it appears the U.S. attorney violated attorney-client privilege and pierced it illegally and forced attorneys to testify in D.C., violating the Fifth and Sixth Amendment. But this is very interesting, though, to hear a prosecutor clam up.
Did you break any laws when you worked at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office?
Objection. Same response.
Ms. Pomerantz, did you violate any person's constitutional rights when you worked on the Trump investigation?
Objection. I have the same response to your question.
Mr. Pomerantz, did you violate any person's constitutional rights while you worked at the Manhattan DA's office?
Objection. Same answer.
Did you misuse any federal funds while investigating President Trump?
Same response.
Did you misuse any federal funds while you were working in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office?
Same response.
And did you violate any New York State bar rules while you were investigating President Trump?
Objection. Same response.
Did you violate any New York State bar rules while you were working in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office?
Objection. Same response.
And did you violate any canons of legal ethics when you were investigating President Trump?
Objection. Same response.
Did you ever violate any canons of legal ethics while you worked at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office?
Objection. The same response.
So, there you go. If that doesn't make you feel any better, chat. Yes, it's so funny and weird, isn't it? So, there you go. Angels of state should not to get the right to exercise the Fifth Amendment. Oh. Yes, the narrator says, and that he did. Now, part of those, did you misuse federal funds? He might not know what federal funding was there. I mean, he could also say, to my knowledge, no. I have no knowledge of that. Although he has to be careful because there might be an email fucking floating around. So sometimes it's easier to say Fifth Amendment. What was the original response to? I don't know. We didn't get that part, but he gave us the... Now, a lot of this is performed because nothing's going to happen. This isn't going to lead to anything. 10K View says, can you bring up if someone pleads the Fifth during the trial? So here's how that works. technically, if you're the defendant in a case and you refuse to take the stand, you are pleading the Fifth. You're asserting your Fifth Amendment right. The state cannot use that and argue that's a basis of guilt. And the jury is not allowed to construe that as an admission of guilt. Okay? Now, for example, let's say Trump is on trial and Mike Pence is called to the stand as a witness. And Mike Pence gets up on the stand and he asserts his Fifth Amendment right. Can anybody comment on that? 100% that can be commented on. Because his rights are not tied to that. You guys hear snoring, that's Clyde. His rights, well, he gets to serve his Fifth Amendment, but he's not on trial, so his rights don't have that same protection of being talked about. So any other party besides the defendant who asserts the Fifth, you can talk about that and bang on that like a drum. And I've done that before. And I've also had cases where I was calling somebody and the prosecutor objected, saying, well, they're going to come in and plead the Fifth. There's no point in having them. Oh, actually, that's Lainey howling. 2.0 if you're here. If you can hear this baby, she's missing you. But I've had that happen, and the prosecutor's like, well, he's going to come in and plead the Fifth. And I said, that's fine. And they're like, well, that's a waste of time. I said, that's his answer to the questions. The jury has a right to know. And I also and the judge pointed out, you don't know he's going to plead the Fifth. He might answer the questions. So we had the guy come in, and yeah, he started pleading the Fifth. And I said, is there any question I'm going to ask you today that you won't assert your Fifth Amendment right on? And he said, no. I said, okay. And then I asked a couple more, and the judge said, all right, we get the point. And I got to beat on that. I got to drag that in front of the jury and say, look, this guy came in and he asserted the Fifth Amendment. Why did he do it? Because he's guilty. And you know what? I can draw any inference I want from that. And I was waiting for it, the prosecutor, because this was, they wanted my guy more than this guy. I was waiting for them to say, you know who can assert the Fifth Amendment right? Innocent people. They didn't do that because they were smart enough not to do that, because I would have been like, and you know who's innocent, ladies and gentlemen? My client. They didn't do it, though. So it all depends if it's the defendant or another witness. So did Gates give Trump a defense? Not really. He didn't really help him out at all. A lot of it's political, but it's nice to see how shitty our government really works right now. That's a shame that I just didn't appeal and argued in court today. Well, congrats. Good luck. On the scope of a negative inference, of a fact finder is permitted to draw, so I have very strong opinions. Well, as long as it's not the defendant, I think you should be allowed to draw whatever inference you want. Stephen, so we got to catch up on some super chats here, guys, real quick. Stephen is saying the DA, she looks like a Franzia fascisto. Yes. Then Isaac Baruch's wholesome gabagool art for $5. Good to see you, man. Says Carl and Vinny from the Creep Off need to watch this, as they know Rochester. You should also be a guest on their show, Creepiest Person of a Topic. Haven't heard of them, but if you know who they are, reach out to them. I'd be happy to talk to them. See what they're all about. Half Irish is a new member. Thank you. Want a kitty in there. And then D for $10 says, will there be a new bad day defense in that county whenever this chick is in court? Well, typically the elected DA generally doesn't come in unless it's a big case. But this is going to cause problems for her assistants when they're like, there's no excuse, Your Honor. And be like, judge is going to be like, your boss had excuses. How do you, because if I was the judge, I'd say, counsel, attorney so-and-so, attorney, we'll do it like this. you know, Mr. Prosecutor, we bring that up. That's a good point. There's no excuses. But your boss just had an issue. How would you square that circle? How is that different here? Do you agree she should have been prosecuted? Obviously, he's not going to do that because that's not fair to that person. But do you think this is a fair and equal application of the law? I'd be curious to see their answers on that. And D says, does that mean in Cali I can own a non-Cali compliant weapon in pleading both the second and the fifth? Yes. Well, it's funny because there's a Cerakoting company, and I think they do slide milling. We plead the second. They also sell holsters, I think. But yeah, that won't get you too far. And Vawas is saying, is Chili a bigger spaz than Ralph? No. No, Chili's got miles to go, but he's got a lot of potential. That's a shame says, I think you can infer what their answers would have been. I don't think you can just cast negative aspersions on a win starting their fifth. Why can't I? There's only one person's rights. Like, they asserted their right. Cool. The defendant, I'm only worried about the defendant. I'm going to say, because remember, I'm pointing out, it could have been somebody else. How about that it could have been that, we came in here. He didn't want to say yes or no. He refused to answer the question. That motherfucker did it. Boom. That's the bad guy. Doesn't hurt him at all. He's not on trial. Joe is actively selling shekels on his channel, collective items. Oh, is he working with Obscure Outdoors selling those challenge coins? That's awesome. Oh, Chili did say people should follow the judge of the grocery store. Oh, that's a bad fucking idea. That's not a good idea. Yeah, don't do that, chat. That's shit Turtle Boy would do. Don't do that. That's stupid. Which you don't come to talk about Turtle Boy. The Karen Reed case, guys. Yeah, it looks to be a dumpster fire. And it'll be hilarious if Karen Reed gets acquitted and Turtle Boy still ends up being found guilty of witness intimidation. And speaking of other trials, George Kelly, the rancher out in Arizona. We're going to dovetail this and then we'll get into our last two things. Some good news for him. George Kelly is not being retried. And the state is seeking to dismiss the charges against him. And there will be a hearing at a later date to determine whether or not that's going to be with or without prejudice. So keep your ears peeled about that. We'll probably show that hearing when it happens. But for right now, George Kelly is walking out a free man. And I think it's going to be with prejudice ultimately because the state did not object to him getting his gun back. And that's a they're not objecting him receiving the evidence. So yeah, good news. Good news. In civil and Georgia pleadings, the fifth is the kiss of death. Oh yeah. In civil pleadings, that's it. Yeah, you're totally done. Metal Matt says, I'm literally Cerakoting my AR handrails right now. Cool. Hopefully it's a nice color. Hopefully it's spraying on nicely. So, yes, George Kelly needs a gun auction. Now, what we need to do is raise some money for George Kelly and buy him like a 4-end attachment that he can put his flashlight on so he's not duct taping it to the gun anymore. Can he hunt immigrants now without restrictions? Remember, it's not even clear that he shot anybody. I don't think he did. He fired warning shots. I don't think he hurt anybody. With that being said, guys, we may have a special guest coming in next week. I'm hoping we can. So fingers crossed. It'll be pretty good. Oh, Cosmo says I was being facetious. Well, there are some people who literally think you can go do that. That would be I would fucking love if I could do it. Get Meemaw Shark on. I would love it. George Kelly live in studio. That would be so much fun. Yes, we're taking George Kelly to the range, guys. Be like, here you go, George. Here's an AK. Let her rip, buddy. That would be so much fun. That would be so much fun. All right. Now, this is a topic we've mentioned, I think, was it last week or the week before? Things going on in Turks and Caicos. We have another issue of another American getting caught in the Turks and Caicos with firearms, ammunition. So, this is just from a couple days ago. So there's 3 guys now this year. And the guy we talked about recently was the guy, Brian Hagerich of Pennsylvania. This new guy, Tyler, he brought ammunition in his luggage. Do not use your range bag as a fucking carry-on. Don't be fucking stupid. You're going to countries where the laws are not the same. Know the laws before you go there. No, oh, can I take a knife? Is this wrong? Is this illegal? Is there anything in here that I don't need? If you could afford to go on a trip, remember, guys, $8 on Walmart, you can buy a brand new backpack. But yes, he didn't empty his suitcase of bullets because he used for going to the range with before he boarded a cruise ship that stopped in Turks and Caicos last week. And yeah, the TSA doesn't admit that they found it, but that's not they don't find anything. The TSA never finds anything at all, okay? They never have. All 3 men now face a minimum of 12 years in prison. This is... Don't be fucking stupid. Don't be fucking stupid like this guy. Big fucking idiot. Well, Sean, how do you know he's an idiot? He might be a nice guy. He's a big fucking moron. Big fucking moron. Michelle says it's starting to look suspicious. No, it's just they're fucking, if you're an American male, I'm sure they're hammering down on you. Yeah, I think there's some suspiciousness to it, but these guys are owning up to it right away. So, is Turks and Caicos a new country? Never heard of it. Oh, Turks and Caicos is a British protectorate. It's a British overseas colony. I mean, so that's kind of the deal. If you never heard of it, I mean, it's a real place. Hold on here. Where is? I mean, like let's do a little geography today, chat. Like, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? So the Turks and Caicos. It's funny because the capital is Cockburn Town. Burn. And then Turks and Caicos is, I like how they have like Yankee Town. And they have Cockburn Harbor. That's just on top of it. That just makes it even better. You got Cockburn Harbor and you got Cockburn Town. Now, if you guys don't understand, this is out in the Caribbean. So there's a bunch of small islands. And if you guys don't realize where you are, I mean, here's Turks and Caicos. And for those of you who are like, I understand this map, this is right below it to the south is the Dominican Republic, and Haiti. Don't you know, child, where they eat people alive and eating the barbecue. And then you have the great land of Cuba, where the famous real estate mogul and pharmaceutical tycoon Anthony Montana was a refugee from. And then you have the Bahamas up here. And here's Turks and Caicos. Here's Hispaniola. Here's Jamaica. And if you want to go for hedonism, there you go. And Nick's second home, his home away from home. And then you have Puerto Rico. Then you have the British Virgin Islands. And then you have going on down this way, the rest of the Windward Islands. But yeah, here's like Turks and Caicos. It's a very popular destination. So when you zoom out, it's not far away. Like look how far away that is from Florida, really. It's not that far away at all. And it's just like a lot of these islands here, for a long time they were British protectorates. Like the Bahamas was, Jamaica was. You have all kinds of them down here. Like Barbuda, Barbados. I think Antigua is part of it as well. But then you have like Dutch places like St. Kitts is, I think St. Kitts is Dutch. Then you have like St. Martin, which is Dutch and French. So, but yeah, here's Turks and Caicos, and here's Miami. And it's not, how far away are this? How far away is that? Let's just go from here, measure distance to Miami. 500 miles. Oh, 600 miles. Just under 600 miles to there. So it's not too far away. Not too far away. But don't do dumb fucking shit, guys. Oh, Coburn is how it's pronounced, I thought. I don't know. A Coburn. I don't know. The Young Turks and Caicos. Their pastime there is horse fucking. Their cultural ambassador is Cenk Uygur and Vosh. Oh, I crack myself up sometimes, chat. Not as big a moron as Brittany Griner, yes, because she intentionally did it. Anything goes says 12 years in a third world prison. How bad could it be? I mean, yeah. Yes, on the one hand, you're stuck in prison, and on one hand, you're in Turks and Caicos. But yes, apparently one of the guys spent like 6 months in jail already down there. And he says it's brutal. It's like a fucking concentration camp down there. It's awful. Like there's no running water and shit, and it's violent. So yeah, you don't want to do it. Don't want to do it. Foreign customs agents are major assholes when they're not blitzed by drugs. Yeah, and and if you weren't like, if I went to Turks and Caicos, I assume they're going to be like, oh, it's an American guy. He's probably got gun shit on him. You should be prepared for that. Yeah, macaque burns. Ellie-Fan says Britain's Puerto Rico. Oh my God, I can type. Probably best to keep your wiener out of Cockburn Harbor. Yeah. Antonio, Montana, Sean. Yeah, I know. I anglicized him a bit. St. Thomas has sexier women. What are the gun laws regarding Turks and Caicos? I mean, the answer is no. I'm assuming they have permitting systems, but you're never going to get it. So let's see what Turks and Caicos' gun laws are. Let's see if we can find them. I mean, it's basically like if you're going to England. No weapons, no ammunition. I mean, very much like here in the United States, you are not a resident. If you're not a citizen or a resident alien, you're not allowed to have firearms or ammunition on you. So there's rules. Those are the rules. You can't have guns or ammo there. Brad says, I don't care unless there's a swingers club there. Auntie them says, where's Valverde? Oh, that's...
You're a funny guy, Sally. I like you. That's why I'm going to kill you last.
directly applicable to that meme. St. Martin on the Dutch side. Yeah, it's very nice. No. Nick calls Jamaica chocolate bowl heaven. Oh my God, there's something I could say. I'm not going to say it. I have vague memories of these places with Sid Meier's Pirates. Yeah. Yep. Oh, you guys left me something in the locals chat. I'll take a look. Kia Patrick's is an hour flight. Okay, cool. They use British pounds in the Bahamas. Yeah. Cosmos says never go on a cruise. That too. I mean, I don't know. People like cruises. I've never really seen the appeal. Turks and Caicos are hurricane magnets. Well, the Windward and Leeward Islands, the entire barrier islands of the Caribbean are hurricane magnets. So Hella says, anyway, what did he get caught with? Ammunition. Like loose rounds of ammunition in his travel bag. Maybe they were spent casings, but in many of those countries, a shell casing is considered ammunition, is a component of ammunition. So it doesn't matter if it was live ammo or spent casings. None of that stuff is legal. Just like you showed up in England with a spent casing. Holy shit. Don't do that. The islands already have shortages for being so secluded. Their prisons are worse. Yeah. Yep. Sulla says he couldn't bribe his way out of it. Well, I'm sure that was an issue, but generally you're going to need a lot of money to bribe your way out of that. And also, I kind of get the feeling the guns are probably like the one area you probably can't bribe out of. Drugs and other stuff, yeah, you could definitely bribe your way out of, but he probably ran into like some more official type of police. By the way, can you make Karen Reed's an interesting case now? I have said that. And I admit I was wrong. Luke says, can you kill me first, please? No. You must suffer, Luke. Suffer. Suffer. British pounds, just like Jamaican bulls pound. Oh, no. Yes, no 308 caliber one hitters. No. No. Janet says, is this legal advice? Don't take ammunition there. Yes, that's legal advice. Jim says, what was I wrong about now? The Karen Reed case. No Mandate says, suffer review tech. Suffer. Luke said, you talking about this PB mayo and pineapple sandwich. You keep saying that. It's got to be real the way you keep referencing that. So that is all done, chat, with that one. The last thing we need to talk about. Well, anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism. It's a real problem here on this channel. In fact, I don't know if you're aware of what anti-Semitism is, but it is hatred for the Jews. In fact, they want to make sure you know about anti-Semitism. Congress wants you to know about it. In fact, they passed an act making sure you are aware of anti-Semitism. Now, I don't know if they meant it that way or it was just, hey, be aware of anti-Semitism. Don't do an anti-Semitism. It's not cool. Or maybe they're like, hey, guys, have you heard about this brand new thing sweeping the country? Anti-Semitism. You know, just like Pokemon coming through, like, gotta catch them. Gotta catch them all. That was, and Hans Landa's like, that is my motto too. Oh boy. Wow. Oh, sometimes I crack myself up. All right. So what is this about? This was passed by Congress. Now, what does this actually mean? So, to provide a consideration and definition of anti-Semitism set forth by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance for the enforcement of federal anti-discrimination laws concerning education programs or activities. Okay, so what is this focusing on? Well, it's the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act of 2023. And it's focusing on Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. All right. And what does that do? Well, it prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, and national origin in programs and activities receiving federal financial assistance. Okay. Well, where are they going to use this? Well, primarily in education institutions. Okay, and really, I mean, they can use this in a lot of places, but that's, you know, because let's face it, what do we have going on right now? Well, a lot of campuses, they are talking about free Palestine, and apparently, with the purchase of a Palestine of similar or greater value, you get a free Palestine. Which, I mean, why not? I mean, that's like when people are giving away free Tibet. Like, who doesn't want free Tibet? I'd take some free Tibet. Now, if you guys aren't sure, you can really go ahead and you can switch over to the Department of Education and look around through there. And they talk about, through the Office for Civil Rights, they talk about education in Title VI. All right. Now, how does this work here? Well, they are enforcing that. They enforce Title VI through this. Now, it's not the only sector, and I'm not talking about that kind of sector, where Title VI of the Civil Rights Act is in effect, but it does. Kibo says, I'm a comedian now too. Okay, unlike Nick, I'm funny. But I also know when I'm cringe. But at least I'm not talking about Hans Landa going to Denny's. Give me credit. But what is this? Now, what is this important about? Well, they talk about through here, the rest of this, they talk about it doesn't cover discrimination based solely on religion. Individuals who face discrimination based on actual or perceived shared ancestry or ethnic characteristics do not lose the protection. And that's the thing. So it's not just prohibiting on the basis of race, color, or national origin. If you perceive someone to be of a different race, of a different color, or of their national origin or ethnicity, that's also illegal. So if somebody could come up to me and they're like, Sean, I think you're one of them. What? And they think they're discriminating based upon something like, I think you're black. And it's like, okay, even though I'm not, they perceive me to be that way. That's still an illegal discrimination grounds. They talk about discrimination against Jews may give rise to a violation of such title when the discrimination is based on race, color, or national origin, which then can also, when they talk about, again, discrimination based on actual or perceived ancestry or ethnic characteristics. And that it's the policy of the United States to enforce such title against prohibited forms of discrimination, rooted in anti-Semitism as vigorously as against all other forms of discrimination prohibited by such title, as noted in the U.S. strategy to counter anti-Semitism issued by the White House in May of 2023. Now, they point out it's critical to increase awareness and understanding of anti-Semitism, including its threat to America. Now, you got to wonder, the people in charge of enforcing Title VI, is it going to be like training day when they're like, a good narcotics officer must know and love narcotics. So, there's a Title VI inspector, and he's got his new guy with him. He's like, a good Title VI inspector must know and love discrimination. He's like, you see that Jewish guy over there? Go be racist to him. Or he's like, you see that woman over there? Go be misogynist. You have to learn how to be racist to fight the racism. They want to improve the safety and security for Jewish communities. Well, that's easy. Tell them to strap up. Reverse the normalization of anti-Semitism and counter anti-Semitic discrimination. So very much like in American Psycho. Ooh, cool with the anti-Semitism. Expand communication and collaboration between communities. I'm not going to lie. If you're talking about anti-Semitism and protecting Jewish communities, I don't know if the word collaboration is the word you want to use in that situation. Because normally when people are when the Jewish people and the word collaborating get mixed together, it doesn't end well. It doesn't end well. Just something to think about. You could probably word that a little better. So they talk about it. Anti-Semitism on the rise in the United States and impacting Jewish students in K-12, schools, college, and universities. So the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, the IHRA, not to be confused with the NHRA, has a working definition of anti-Semitism. Okay. And we go through all of this here, and we keep talking about the first ever United States national strategy to counter anti-Semitism. What the strategy is, guys, be nice to the Jews. Don't be anti-Semitic. So all this is nice, but what's the definition of anti-Semitism? Okay, well, so it means the definition of anti-Semitism adopted by the IHRA. Okay, well, but what is it? Why can't we see it? Of which the United States is a member, and which definition has been adopted by the State Department. Okay, but what is the definition? Because it includes contemporary examples of anti-Semitism identified. Okay, what is their definition? Why haven't we seen it yet? Why haven't you seen it yet in this thing? Why haven't we seen it yet? Squidgar says, why YouTube wouldn't let me super chat Semitism. That's funny. Are there Title IX inspectors? Well, there's people who enforce Title IX. Das Boot says, shit, got myself a new job. But we don't have it yet. That's the problem. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on some of these chats here, guys. Yes, Wrestler Town, and that's the part. That's the part we have to go look for it. Because they won't tell us. What is the IHRA's anti-Semitism definition? Well, you can do that. And if you want to go there, they have a working definition of anti-Semitism. Which... So here is the IHRA, the working definition of anti-Semitism. All right, so it's non-legally binding. And working definition means it's like we're still kind of hammering it out. So here it is. Here it is. Anti-Semitism is a certain perception of Jews, which may be expressed as hatred toward Jews. Rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed towards Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and or their property, toward Jewish community institutions and religious facilities. But it may be expressed as hatred. Is that saying you can have non-hate-based anti-Semitism? I mean, that just seems weird. Like, you're being anti-Semitic, but you're not being hateful? You know, you think it'd say which is expressed as hatred towards Jews, because which maybe it's like, well, non-hateful anti-Semitism. I'd actually be curious to see what that is. So what does that? I mean, is there more to this though? So here are some of the manifestations though. Here are some of our manifestations. So include the targeting of the state of Israel, conceived as a Jewish collectivity. However, criticism of Israel, similar to that leveled against any other country, cannot be regarded as anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitism frequently charges Jews with conspiring to harm humanity and is often used to blame Jews for why things go wrong. But, like, what if it's true? It is expressed in speech and writing and visual forms and employs sinister stereotypes and negative traits. Okay. And they talk about contemporary examples in public life and in the religious sphere. I don't like where this is going, chat. I think you know where this is going here. Calling for aiding or justifying the killing or harming of Jews in the name of a radical ideology or an extremist view of religion. Okay. Making mendacious, dehumanizing, demonizing, or stereotypical allegations of Jews, such or the power of Jews is collective, such as especially but not exclusively the myth about a world Jewish conspiracy or of Jews controlling the media, economy, government, or social institutions. Next, you'll tell me that it's wrong to call the sky blue. Accusing Jews of people being responsible for real or imagined wrongdoing committed by a single Jewish person or group, or for even acts committed by non-Jews. Okay. Denying the fact, scope, mechanisms, example, gas chambers, or the intentionality of the genocide of the Jewish people at the hands of National Socialist Germany and its supporters and accomplices during World War II, also known as the Holocaust. Accusing the Jews as a people or Israel as a state of inventing or exaggerating the Holocaust. Okay. Accusing Jewish citizens of being more loyal to Israel or the alleged priorities of Jews worldwide than the interests of their own. Denying the Jewish people the right to self-determination when we deny all kinds of people the right to self-determination. I'm fine with denying the state of Ukraine its right to self-determination. Applying double standards by requiring of a behavior not expected or demanded of any other democratic nation. Like what? Like what? Using the symbols associated with classic anti-Semitism. Claims of Jews killing Jesus. Or blood libel. And that's kind of where we have to, Oh my God, I love you guys. Oh. Well, there's a big problem here with that one, especially. Because if you guys are not aware, there's this book called the Bible. And in the Bible, there is a book called First Thessalonians. And chapter 2, verses 14 through 19. They talk about, for you, brothers and sisters, became imitators of God's churches in Judea, which are in Christ Jesus. You suffered from your own people the same things those churches suffered from the Jews who killed the Lord Jesus and the prophets and also drove us out. I mean, are we saying the Bible's anti-Semitic now? Now, that doesn't mean that we go around and kill Jews, but to say that exists, I mean, I'm going to have a bit of an issue here saying I can't say that. Yeah. Technically, the Romans killed him. The Romans killed Jesus to avoid having an insurrection on their hands. Because the Pharisees said, if you don't do it, we're going to do it, and then we're going to kill you. So, did the Jews kill Jesus? No, they ordered that he be dead because Pilate said, what do you want me to do with them? He's like, I'm just in charge here. I'm a government bureaucrat. What do you want of me? And they said, well, go take care of him. And he's like, all right. The Bibble, my nibble. J-Rock says, the Bible says a lot of stuff like sacrificing your kids. Yes, that's the Old Testament. Thessalonians is New Testament. I'm just saying that, I don't like how that was worded. That's a poorly worded definition, and they've just globbed onto it. So that's the issue there. Oh. Even funnier though, there is a bit of a yes, and if you guys were not aware, this passed the House of Representatives with bipartisan support. Yes, because when Congress goes behind it completely, that's when you need to be scared. It passed the House, and it's going to the Senate. And what was there was one roll call vote for it. And it was an absolute fucking landslide. It was 320 to 91. I mean, here's the roll for it. Here's the roll call for it. Here's the roll call. I mean, they did 320 to 91. Just oof. And I will say the best part about it are the memes, and there's a really good meme here. Just absolutely hilarious meme. And I actually canceled it out of earlier, and I hadn't had a chance to pull it up. But chat, we're going to end on it. We're going to end on it because it is the most primo of things. But I'm terrified of this. The government is jumping in to this nonsense when it shouldn't be within a million fucking miles of it. Okay, yeah, anti-Semitism is bad, but now they're using this definition, which, the government's not going to do anything with that. Says who? All the government does is mission creep. And it gets bigger and bigger and more problematic. And there's some beautiful memes, and there's a really good meme here. And this is from S2 Underground. If you guys know who he is on YouTube, he's a great follow. This is fucking hilarious. So here we go.
Te llamo para que vaya a recoger las paelleras. Y me acuesto el sur, ya para abrir el restaurante que era el arroz. Y me llama el cocinero. Risita, ¿qué? Ve por la paellera. Venga, que las 2 de la tarde ya están aquí. Miren, bañador. En las chanclas. Todo despeinado porque no me dio tiempo nada ponerme las chanclas y el bañador. Voy a la playa, había subido la marea.
It gets better. Read the captions, guys. They're great.
Había subido la marea con una paella. Y la encontré porque estaba la paellera agarrada. Metí entre las piedras de Chipiona, del faro. Y cuando entro en el restaurante me ve el cocinero con una paellera y adentro la vende paellera. ¡Asómate, mira dónde llega el agua! Llegaba el agua hasta el restaurante. Había subido la marea. ¿Y tú? ¡Ay, qué hacemos ahora! Con los 2 sacos de arroz. ¡Ay, llama para Sevilla! ¡Llama a Sevilla que traigo paella!
Yeah, that's. Oh, wow, there's a lot of comments here. There's a lot of comments here we need to catch up on. I had to star. Oh, I wore my finger out clicking on these stars. Swissguard says, can we take improvised explosives to the islands? No. Well, you don't get caught, but that's between us. So shh. And Sleazy for $10 says, I had nothing to do with this. That's what you want us to think. Fat262 says, Suffer, Dalai Lama. J-Rock says, this absolutely has nothing to do with the Hamas sympathizers and protests going. Why am I out of focus? God. No, yeah, it has nothing to do with that. Just coincidental. Luke says, I don't think China wants a free Tibet. Well, I mean, who doesn't want a free Tibet with the purchase of a Tibet of greater or equal value? And I'm a comedian now too. Like I said, I at least try to be funny. I don't have crib notes. I just make my shit up as I go. You are going to hell. Okay. Not the first time somebody's told me that. Is it true this bill banned wooden doors? I see what you did there. And WrestlerTown says, I just want everybody to know that I supported Max Miller's opponent in the Republican primary. Max Miller is the guy who proposed this. Metal Matt says, make sure you take lots of Pokeballs into the tunnels to catch them all. Swissguard says for $5, who would be against cementism? It makes a great building material. And J-Rock gifted 10 memberships. Thank you, J-Rock. We appreciate your support and your generosity. If you guys did get a gift, make sure you tell them thank you. This is just a coincidence. Yeah. Dustboot says, do you prepare your jokes ahead of time? No. That's why I laugh, because I catch myself and I'm like, that's fucking hilarious. Hella says, the time you dumped us on Nick was not funny. Au contraire, it was fucking hilarious. Watching you guys go, no! And me just go, lol, LOL. It was great. Pepsi Man says, oy vey, stop noticing. D says for $5. You heard it here, chat. The Bible is illegal. It's exactly what it was. And then Pepsi Man says, big surprise. The Jews got Jesus in the most Jewish way possible, where they can deny they did it. D says for $5. Soon there will be the Judenwaffe going door to door searching for Christians and Bibles. LMFAO, I can see it now. Hugo Boss 2, Electric Boogaloo. Natasha says, that's it. Levites are anti-Semitic. The priests and scribes of the Bible were Jews of the tribe of Levi. Also, aren't Levi's anti-gun? Yes, although I think you meant to say the Levites. Although I'm assuming you meant just trying to work that in there. That is very funny. That worked pretty well. J-Rex says the ACLU will sue the crap out of him. This becomes a law. I hope so. I hope this doesn't become a fucking law, but Jesus Christ, this is not good. Same people who brought us the fucking Patriot Act. Sheeple Hunter, remember, for 2 months says, end the stream. Yes. Yes, shut it down. Shut it down. Then Natasha, again, thank you for your super chats. I appreciate it. Says $5. All of a sudden, not getting your baby boy circumcised is anti-Semitic. Yes, they want the foreskins. Eat the bugs, live in a pod, cut off the foreskin. That's the end of that's the part Sargon forgot to comment on. You're gonna eat the bugs, live in the pod, and cuts off your foreskin. So thank you, Natasha. Mark says couldn't read a word. Like you couldn't read what I posted? Sorry. Hope you heard it. Yes, Hocus Pocus out of focus. J-Rock says, Tibet have oil and lithium? I don't know, but if they do, they need to get liberated. Yes, Elise Stefanik. This was, like I said, guys, this was bipartisan. The government agreeing on something is a dangerous thing. Anytime they're working together, you should be scared shitless. Yes, Sean was like, suffer, chat. Well, yes, the Winter Soldiers. Well, who controls the ACLU? Is the Ukraine war over? Well, yes, Ukraine got to take the backseat because Israel took over. So I'm sure all the Banderites and Nazis are absolutely mauling and seething that a land full of Jews has occupied the U.S. Presence and relegated them to the back seat for now. Does this bill have any chance in the Senate? Oh, 100%. Guess what? Guess what's going to happen? This is like having a bill saying everybody gets a free puppy. Who's going to vote against the anti-Semitism is bad bill? Well, I mean, some people will, but not enough. Yes, foreskin chips. Foreskin chips. Get your foreskin chips here. Unhung Hero for $2 says, I did not see this one coming. And J-Rex says, yes, liberated for democracy. What, the foreskins are being liberated? I'm not sure how encouraging a larger amount of decreasing the amount of uncut cock in America helps democracy. Billy Aoki says, what did I come on to? Yes. Oh shit, the free puppies? Yes. Yes, isn't it weird how Hassan and Nick Fuentes share the same geopolitical opinions now? Yeah, makes you think, don't it? It's so funny and weird. quote somebody. Oh, well, Chad, we have not been shut down. We have survived. We made it. We made it. Apparently, they were sleeping at the switch. We caught them slipping. Chat. Woo. Just in time. Just in time. Oh my God. Just in time. Just in time. Yes. For now. For now. All right, guys. So that is it for tonight. No shot Joe covers this. Oh. We'll go confront Joe. You know, Joe, we demand answers. You hear me? Oh my gosh. There. Okay. I don't know why. Some nights it works. YouTube will shut this down. But yes, guys, we are all done for tonight. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. We've had a great night. A lot to talk about. Tonight we had less topics, but I think some of them were more serious, some were funny. But that is it. So as far as scheduling tomorrow goes, we will be up with Karen Reed right away at 9 a.m. I will be here. We'll be going and going and going. It should be very good. And it'll be very interesting to see what the state does. They were still doing direct for one of the female firefighters that found John O'Keefe dead on the side of the road. But the big thing now is I'm going to send you over to, well, let's see who's on right now. Let's see who's on. Oh, well, wait, Nick is on tonight. Holy cow. I did not see that coming. Did not see that coming. But good for him. Good for him. It's like watching Major League. You know, you win one, and then you have two in a row. Then you have three. It's called a winning streak. They have happened before. Why is this? Come on. All right, we're going to redirect. Where are we going to send you guys to? You know what? We'll send you to Joe because he is working hard to help the Emperor of Mankind. And I will send you guys there. If you guys are going to join us over on Locals, we will be starting up the live show very, very shortly. And I hope to see you guys there. Otherwise, enjoy your night with Joe, and I'll see you tomorrow morning for Karen Reed. So remember until next time. Remember until next time. Just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. Good night, chat.